America's dangerous racist endorses racist sports issues. Only months after calling for a boycott of Major League Baseball, Donald Trump did the tomahawk chop with the Atlanta Braves fans at Game 4 of the World Series on Saturday night. Is this a problem? Yes. It's the bully sticking his tongue out at a group of minorities that he doesn't give a hoot about. And that turns his fans on. That makes them feel powerful, picking on those that are having difficulty. Well, isn't that what MAGA is all about? Make America great again? Lie, cheat, steal, and ignore? Is that what made America great initially? Lying to Native Americans, stealing their lands, and then ignoring the treaties our government had with them back then? Signed with them back then? If that's so, the ex-president's on the mark. That chop at the very visible, highly televised World Series, in my opinion, was just like saying, I don't give a royal effing what these Indian organizations are complaining about. I'm coming here and I'm doing it just to stick my tongue out at them. Welcome to Radio Labio's English program, where I share the most interesting notes of the day that you may not have had time to catch up on. I'm Juan Andres. And by the way, to satisfy all Americans, we podcast in English as well as Spanish, so you can feel comfortable listening to our programs. Thank you for listening. The former president stood beside his wife Melania as he made the chopping motion with fans before the game between Atlanta Braves and Houston Astros. The chop has been a game day tradition at Braves games since 1991. However, it has come under scrutiny at this year's World Series at a time when the U.S. teams have wrestled with their use of Native American names and imagery. What's the difference when Trump wanted the black football players who took a knee protesting police brutality to be fired for doing so, but he can do the chop, in essence protesting that Native American organizations are asking that it be eliminated because their community finds it highly offensive? In other words, blacks that protest are wrong in his twisted man's mind, but whites that protest like himself, because that's what he was doing, in which he thinks he's a perfect embodiment of white America, can do so because he doesn't give a royal F about what minorities care about. Keep in mind, he's doing this as a private citizen, yes, but a former president. What if George Bush, the son, turns his back during services at a Muslim mosque? Would that be appropriate? Huh? Everybody's down on their knees and their head is touching the floor, and he's standing up with his back towards them. Would that be appropriate? Well, that's what the chop is. Or Barack Obama holds his fist up in the air during a white evangelical gathering with the press present. Of course not. The office of the presidency was held with dignity at all times, and the former presidents did so accordingly until this. Even as an ex-president, when you leave that office, you take a little bit of it with you. And what you do matters. Washington's NFL team dropped a nickname widely considered racist in 2020 when Major League Baseball's Cleveland Indians will be known now as the Guardians for next season. But Trump loves endorsing racist sports issues that show his silent but demonstrative contempt for minorities. Last week, Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred said Native Americans have been unwaveringly supportive of the CHOP, a reference to the Eastern Band of 14,000 Cherokee Indians who work with the Braves. However, other Indian groups say the CHOP perpetuates stereotypes of Native Americans as primitive warriors. The total population of Native Americans is 2.7 million people. And the Braves are justifying their decision on the opinion of 14,000 of them, while the rest of them, of the 2.7 million, don't agree. We have reportedly, repeatedly, and unequivocally made our position clear. Native people are not mascots, and degrading rituals like the tomahawk chop that dehumanize and harm us have no place in American society. National Congress of American Indians President Von Sharp said in a statement on Wednesday. You're going to say, oh my goodness, what is a chop? Come on, these Native Americans are highly sensitive. Of course they are. Don't you remember all the things that happened 20, 30 years ago with cartoons that depicted African Americans eating watermelons and spitting out seeds was degrading and is no longer acceptable. Radio Labio's Diario program host Juan Andres, me, stands firmly with the National Congress of American Indians. I see their concern as important. I remember when one of the more popular restaurants in certain parts of the United States was Sambo's. And as you used to walk in, they had a mural of little black Sambo and the tiger, the then popular kid's story about turning into butter, which was highly offensive to African Americans. I would not support any racist symbol at all, even if a fast food chain with the name of Dumps was started and they had a mural of a fat white man cowering while leaving the White House in disgrace, while images of minorities standing next to the voting machines surrounding him, pointing with a finger, saying silently, "Get out." It would be highly offensive to that fat white man, and it would be racist, and I would not participate and would criticize anyone that would do such a thing. I would consider it un-American and not representative of who we are as a melting pot, which is what we are. Even though this melting pot was created by the ancestors of white supremacists by enslaving blacks and bringing them to America, and through American expansionism forcing Mexicans to become Mexican Americans by buying up lands, if they can call what they paid buying it. Be careful what you wish for, because it might come to be your worst nightmare down the line. And that's what's happening. You got all these advantages doing all these things, including these people because they were to your advantage. And now their children are here and they're not accepting that anymore. On Saturday, Trump was joined by political allies, including the Georgia Senate candidate Herschel Walker, in a private suite as the Braves came from behind to win 3-2 and move one win from a first championship since 1995. But I don't think Trump gives a hoot about who wins. In my opinion, he's there for the media attention he can't live without, and at the expense of minorities, because he knows it's going to upset. Come on. How would you not know that with advisors and all the knowledge and access of information he has? He did it intentionally. Intentionally. With probably some excuse like, there's nothing wrong with the CHOP. We've done it in America since 1991, and I'm here to support the team and people and the 14,000 Indians that approve it. What does that have to do? He's an ex-president. He's supposed to represent the entire country. 350 or 300 plus million people. Not 14,000 Indians and a few baseball uh, fans when he's there using that opportunity as an ex-president. That's what infuriates me. This is an ex-president of the United States. He's not just Joe Blow. What he does matters. And he's using it against Americans. Trump released a statement in an email to supporters about his World Series appearance. Looking forward to being at the World Series in Atlanta tonight. Huh? Looking forward. Huh? Thank you to the Commissioner of Baseball, Rob Manfred, and Randy Levine of the New York Yankees for the invite. Melania and I are looking forward to a wonderful evening watching two great teams. Major League Baseball denied making the invitation and said in a statement he requested to attend the game. But then what's new? Liar, liar, pants on fire. Nothing out of this man's mouth ever can be taken as truth. Levine is the Yankees president. The visit to Truist Park provided Trump an opportunity to be seen with Walker, who was a football star at the University of Georgia before playing in the NFL for the Dallas Cowboys and Minnesota Vikings, as well as the USFL's New Jersey Generals. Trump was an owner of the Generals when Walker played for the team in the now defunct league, and they have maintained a relationship. Trump encouraged Walker to run for the Senate. You ready for this? The Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell endorsed Walker on Wednesday. Walker is seeking to unseat the Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock, formerly a preacher at a church once home of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s church. Trump encouraged the boycott of Major League Baseball games after Manfred removed this year's All-Star game from Atlanta, Georgia. The game instead was held in Denver. Manfred's decision, announced in April, followed protests of Georgia's new voting law, which includes an ID requirement for mail-in votes. Critics say the law will negatively affect communities of color. President Joe Biden supported moving the game, though some brave fans and businesses near Truist Park complained they were being unfairly punished. Of course, that happens. There are consequences. And I'm sure that some people that don't deserve it did suffer. But the greater good is what's important here. Trump may have selected Atlanta in hopes of a more positive reception than he received in his last World Series appearance. When in office, he was booed when he sat in the stands at Game 5 in 2019 between the Astros and Washington at National Park in D.C. On Saturday, Trump was not shown on the Truist Park video board before the game. I imagine that it's because the booing that could have ensued would make him look horrible, and then the chop wouldn't have meant anything. I'm Juan Andres. You can find us on more than 60 sites on the internet where you can listen to our podcast. Just ask Google Radio Labio, Labio, and bingo will pop up. There'll be a couple of dozen selections that you can find us on the internet. So it's very easy to hear my programs. On my behalf, as well as my colleague Yvonne Encinas, who does weekend programs, and our manager and fellow on-air personality, Francisco Maldonado, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.